Hey guys, it's Chelsa Messenger from Picks Parlays. We're talking week 4 of the NFL. Now through the end of Monday Night Football, we've got a promo code for 20% off the entire site of picksandparlays.net. Use the code FALL, F-A-L-L. Cardinals and Panthers. The Cardinals favoring this one -3, -3.5. Depends on where you get it. And the total is 51. The Cardinals coming off their first loss, both straight up and against the spread last week against the Lions. Meanwhile, the Panthers coming off their first win of the season as 6-point underdogs against the Chargers on the road, no less. We've got Lee from ASA joining us to talk this one. Lee, when you see these two teams on paper, what stands out?
I think the Arizona Cardinals, if we're going to find out they're for real or not this season, this is a big opportunity for them to get a road win. When we look at last week's results, really turnovers were the difference for both teams. The Panthers picked up, they were 4-0 on turnovers. Last week they got outgained by 130 yards approximately, 12 less first downs in the game against the Chargers, but they benefited from the 4 turnovers, which led to 13 points and eventually the win. On the flip side, Arizona was on the negative side of turnovers with Detroit. They had 3, which led to 10 points for Detroit in that game. So I think that's going to be a telling stat. Let's not overreact to what happened last week with Carolina getting a win and Arizona getting a loss. You know, the Panthers defense is atrocious. They're 30th in the NFL this year in defensive efficiency. They've allowed 34 and 31 already in 2 of their games. Arizona's 10th in the NFL in yards per game. They're averaging 406. So I'm going to expect Kyler Murray to come out and have a big game in this one with or without Hopkins. And I expect them to get a convincing road win.
Right. Just to expand on that, DeAndre Hopkins and Christian Kirk, both receivers for the Cardinals, both questionable for this game. Cornerbacks Budda Baker and Chris Banjo are both out for the Cardinals. But I think you mentioned it, the Cardinals, I don't want people to overreact to a loss. And I think you kind of get a better number on the Cardinals here because they're coming off a loss and because the Panthers are coming off a win. So I like the Cardinals here, especially if I can get them at -3, -3.5. Don't love it as much, but I still like the Cardinals. I think Kyler Murray has a good game, especially against this Panthers defense that has really struggled. Bottom half of the league in both rush and pass yards allowed per game. And they haven't even faced a mobile quarterback yet this season. Derek Carr, Tom Brady, Justin Herbert, not exactly threats to run. So I think that adds another dynamic here as well. And plus, the Panthers have 0 wins against the spread as home underdogs in their last 5. And the Cardinals are actually pretty good against the spread on the road. They've covered or pushed in 9 of their last 10. So I'm going Cardinals here. Any other thoughts on this one? Did you even look at the total? I know I'm putting you on the spot a little bit, but I think the odds makers may have adjusted some of these totals since overs were so hot last week.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on 51 as the total here?
Yeah, that's an interesting point. And first I want to touch on what you said about pressuring the quarterback. I think, if my notes are right, the Panthers are last in the NFL in sacks per game and sack percentage. So, yeah, I don't see them pressuring Kyler Murray at all in this game. Interesting thing about totals, this season, NFL games are averaging 51 points per game. And I looked into our database, and through the first 4 weeks last year, there were seven totals of 50 or higher set by the odds makers in Vegas. This year, there have been 15. So clearly, the odds makers are starting to adjust to the higher totals. So I don't know if that means there's more value on betting that under or games are just trending over.
Right. I know I kind of put you on the spot there, but because when at first glance you think of the Cardinals and you think how much they pass the ball and you see a bad defense, and so you think about taking an over. But the Cardinals are actually 3-0 to the under, and plus this number's pretty high. So that's why I kind of stayed away from it. But I know the books have been getting crushed because the public likes to bet on overs, and the overs have been hot lately. So it looks like across the board, a lot of these totals have gone up considerably this week.
Yeah. I think overs are 30, 18, and 1 on the season to the overs. So yes, to your point, you're 100% correct.
Well, some good insight from Lee there. That's going to do it for our NFL talk here on Picks and Parlays. Lee, thanks for joining us.